Lokote ma'am, share the YouTube link. Okay, Professor Dr. S.R. Nagori Lakhotia, respected speaker, Professor Dr. Prashant Mannikar, Dayanand College of Arts, Latur, Dr. Datta Sawant, Toshniwal Arts, Commerce and Science College, Sengav, Nitin Doke, Dayanand College of Arts, Latur. Today's co-host of this session, Dr. K.R. Gavane, and esteemed participant students and teachers who are joining with us through Zoom platform, and those who are watching this session through YouTube live streaming. So very good morning to one and all. I welcome you all to day second session, second and third of university level online invited lecture series for undergraduate students of English Compulsory, Optional and SEC of S.R.T.M University, Nanded. I request Dr. Gutte sir, please mute because you are joining from same group. Mute your mic, okay, or Mannikar sir, please. These two sessions
Gavane sir, actually there is a problem with Gavane sir. Gavane sir, please mute your mic.
No.
Yes.
Okay. These two sessions would be on BA Optional English second year, American Literature paper 6th and BA second year SSC English, Employability Skill paper 1. And for this we have invited Professor Dr. Prashant Mannikar and Nitin Doke from Latur and Dr. Datta Sawant from Sengav. And they will talk on core units of concerned papers and the details you will get from organizing from the co-host of today's session, Dr. Kamlakar Gavane. He will be in charge of this session and he will introduce these speakers in detail and their topics also. Before handing over this virtual dais to Dr. Gavane, I would like to introduce him to the participant students. Dr. Kamlakar Gavane is working as an associate professor in PG Department of English, Maharashtra Udayagiri College, Udgir. He is also IQC as well as NAC coordinator of MU College. He specializes in translation studies and has a good number of paper presentations, conference talks, and publications to his credit. His books on net set and one more book on higher education, which he has edited with Honorable Dr. Janardhan Wagmare, the founding vice chancellors of S.R.T.M University, Nanded, and Principal V.L. Erande, are notable contributions by him. This second book, which he has edited with Dr. J. Wagmare, is also available in the Kindle edition. In COVID-19 lockdown period, he has conducted 2 online courses on basic English for students free of cost. In Student Life 2, he was a meritorious student throughout his career. He was state merit 6th at HSC, university topper at UZ, and in merit list at his PG, that is MA English. Such a wonderful person. Dr. Gavane is our host and the in charge of this session. I'm handing over this virtual podium to Dr. Gavane. Dr. Gavane, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nawale, sir. Dear friends, this is day 2, session 2 of the 4-day online lecture series organized for the undergraduate students of English of S.R.T.M Nanded. And I am really honored to co-host this session for which we have eminent speakers, and I am really honored to host this session for which my teachers, Dr. Nitin Doke sir and Professor Prashant Mannikar sir,
I completed my post-graduation from Dayanand College of Arts. So this session is special for me, where I am hosting for the eminent speakers, and our third speaker is Dr. Datta Sawant sir. Uh, this session deals with American English paper of BA second year optional English, and uh, our first speaker for this session is Professor Dr. Prashant Manika sir. He is the head of the postgraduate department of English, Dayanand College of Arts, and recently he has been promoted as the professor before 2 months. And he completed his PhD on Mahesh L. Kunchwar. And to his credit, he has many research papers and participations and presentations in national and international conferences. He has also completed minor and major research projects. And as a student, as his student, I want to mention here that he is one of the popular teachers of his department. And his today's topic here is a drama, All My Sons, by Arthur Miller. May I request Professor Dr. Prashant Manika to speak on the drama All My Sons by Arthur Miller. Professor Prashant Manika, please.
Thank you, Dr. Kamlakar. Am I audible? I just want to know.
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Uh, well, at the outset, I congratulate the Department of English of the SHIVAJI College and UDAYAGIRI College, Nawale sir and Nagori ma'am for this initiative for the students. I hope I have been given 30 minutes. Just I want to know from Nawale sir, because it is 11:42. So, am I going to get 30 minutes or I have to wind up in 20 minutes?
Yeah. Wind up within the session, because two
No,
speakers.
session means what? I mean,
No. Your allocated time, because two more speakers are there. You may take full half hour.
I'm just confirming whether I will be getting 30 minutes or it should be lessened from. Okay.
Please, take your
Yeah,
time.
yeah. And other participants, my friends, Dr. Doke sir and Dr. Datta Sawant. Dr. Kamlakar mentioned many things. I thank him for his courtesy. I assume that for me, my audience is a class of BA second year optional English. And for some time, I would ignore that I'm either speaking for my colleagues or for the teaching community, teachers, faculty. As Dr. Kamlakar mentioned, he has been he was a student of Dayanand College of Arts. I had been student of MU College. And in 1999, I passed out MA from Udayagiri College, and I had been a fortunate person for having 7 teachers, all 7 stars of Udayagiri College, from Sangevar sir to Ramdas sir. My teacher used to say students are the best critics. So probably Dr. Kamlakar had whatever estimation, and I hope in private also he will keep that estimation of me. We'll begin with Arthur Miller's play All My Sons. I would like to share the PPT for the students as well. I could see here share screen.
Yes, now you can.
Yeah.
You are now co-host, you can.
Well, we'll begin with some preliminary informations about the play. The play was first performed in 1947. The time, the age in which a particular work of art is written is very important, because it is the estimation of the contemporary period. Every literary work of art has two dimensions. One is temporal, of a particular time, and one is timeless. Temporal in the sense that it is a commentary on any event that might have taken place in its immediate past, and timeless because a literary work of art deals with certain human values which cut across the time and space. So the play was written in 1947, and we can understand it was just after a few years of the end of Second World War. So this play has the background of Second World War, the subject matter of the play, because the play has been sourced from yet another play by Henrik Ibsen, The Wild Duck. It doesn't mean Arthur Miller has copied Ibsen's play. No, the germinal idea has been taken from Ibsen's play, The Wild Duck. And the idea is deception of a business partner. This seems to be a small idea that he has taken. Deceptions are very common. What happens in this case is a friend has accepted the responsibility of sticking to a decision, has promised that he will shoulder the responsibility, and later on refuses to do so. And then what happens after that is the subject matter of the play. So, as we know, the seed is there, it is very small, just like a grain. But as there is a fruition, as it goes on sprouting out, it becomes a tree, a large tree, big tree. Likewise, the subject matter is of just deception, but then a literary work of art is multi-layered. There are many layers which are there in a literary work of art. So the idea has been taken from the play. Rest is having the background of the World War II. World War II, it became a kind of opportunity, because wars are always an opportunity for the business people of procuring wealth. So for whom the for whose benefit wars are there, that also is one of the subjects, one of the themes in this play. There are many themes, but two prominent themes are: one is criticism of war, second one is criticism of American dream. Third one is, which is very classic in all Arthur Miller plays, and this is about the conflict. George Bernard Shaw once made a statement that there is no drama if there is no conflict. So, simple statement is no conflict, no drama. What is the conflict here? Obviously, in all plays, in all short stories, or in all literary works of art, the conflict is of the human interest, clashing of the human interests. Here too, we have the clashing of the human interests. What is specific about the Miller plays is the conflict is usually in between the individual and the society. For example, Death of a Salesman. For example, The Crucible. There is individual on one hand and there is society on the other hand. He talks about the individual freedom, at the same time he talks about the social order. These two are contradictory terms, but how to mitigate this problem is an issue. So he deals with this conflict between the individual and the society. His another topic, first area, is the conflict between the family responsibilities, family duties, and duties at large. Now, this play, All My Sons, deals with all these themes. It deals with the American dream, it deals with the conflict of interests, it deals with social responsibility and individual responsibility, that one's responsibility to one's family and one's responsibility to one's nation and to humanity at large. Before we deal with certain other issues of the play, I would like to talk about what American dream is. All of us know after the First World War, uh, after the First World War came to an end, there was an era of much growth. And this growth was for the winners, alliances, those who owned the war. It was the era which was known for its opportunities and growth. So during 1920s, 1920 to 30, we find a particular idea of the growth of what does it mean by success? What does it mean by growing business? So lot of opportunity was there, and then America already, right from its inception, had been the land of prosperity. Had been the It was a promised land because the Europeans went there in search of the opportunities. It was there in the very constitution of America that if you are a hardworking person, you will become a successful person. So the theme, then what happened is during the Great Depression of 1930 onwards, there was downscaling of the business. And then a criticism of the American dream started. That whether is it a dream, can we pursue it? Is it possible that every hardworking person becomes successful? And then, as there were works in favor of American dream, there were works as criticism of American dream. And Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman is a very fine criticism of the failure of American dream. So, as he was taking the current issues, contemporary issues, one of the issue that we find in All My Sons is of the this particular craze for becoming a successful person at the expense of all human values. So that is one point that he has discussed. The rest of the things are related with the responsibilities. In a literary work of art, especially in drama, as we are preparing for examination and as we are studying the drama, we have to understand the place and time of action, that is known as setting or locale, where the action takes place. You must have heard, I'm referring to the students, you must have heard about three unities. Not to be logically followed all the time, but it is a dramatic device that is usually used so that you could get a compact effect. Now, this play, as far as this play is concerned, It follows the unities in the sense that it deals with one theme, one story, the fall of Joe Keller. It takes place, it begins in the morning after a storm at night and ends by midnight within a single revolution of the day. It takes place in one place, that is the house of Joe Keller, which is in Ohio province of USA. Why students have to take care of mentioning the place names? It gives the examiners an idea that the student has really gone through the play. We cannot just say that it was somewhere it takes place in USA. You need to be specific where it takes place in the house of Joe Keller. Well, what is the time of the action? Soon after the end of World War II. And most of the incidents of the play take place in the backyard of the house of Keller, Joe Keller. Action time of the play, as I have mentioned, it takes place in a single day. It begins in the morning after a stormy night and comes to an end very late morning of the second day. Next. The play begins after the 3.5 years of the imprisonment of Steve Deaver. So this is about the action of the play. Themes I have already talked about. Conflict between the individual and the society. Conflict between individual and or family liabilities and social liabilities. A critique of the American dream. These are the focuses of Miller's writing. Now, what is there in All My Sons? It deals with two basic themes. One, the critique of American dream, just now I have talked about, and the conflict between the individual and family liabilities on one hand, and the adherence to the social liabilities on the other hand. Characters are very important because they are the prime movers in a play. Joe Keller is the protagonist because the play is about Joe Keller and his relationship with Steve Deaver and other characters. Now, when you open the play, you find that only these characters are mentioned in the character list. Joe Keller, his wife, Kate Keller, and their son, Chris Keller. So there are 4 families in all. One is the Kellers, second one, the Deavers, third one, Baylis, and fourth one, Dewey. What is interesting about any play is not a single character is introduced without intention, and not a single stage property is put without any intention. So it is said that if you find a sword on the stage, it must be used. Otherwise, it should not be used because it's not a story, it's a drama. And drama has its own protocols to follow. So you find these 4 families here. Dr. Jim Baylis, his wife Sue Baylis, and Bert is their son. What about Jim Baylis' family and what is the relationship of this family with the Keller and with the Deaver? Steve Deaver's home house has been purchased by Jim Baylis. So Jim Baylis is the neighbor of Joe Keller, and Frank and Lube, they are another neighbors of Joe Keller. Frank Lube is interested in horoscopes, making horoscopes. And because Larry, as you can see these 2 characters here, these characters are not mentioned in the character list. Only these characters are mentioned in the character list. These 2 characters, they are not mentioned in the character list because these two characters never appear on the stage. They are there and they are not there. So we may say that they are having the unseen presence, but their presence is powerful presence. These two characters loom largely over the entire play, because Steve Deaver is mentioned every now and then, and Larry Keller is mentioned every now and then. Not only that, these are Larry Keller and the letter he wrote ultimately leads the play to its final catastrophe. So even though they never appear on the stage, but they cast major influence on this drama. The story is quite simple. Joe Keller and Steve Deaver, they had been business partners. They used to manufacture warheads, different articles which are used in the war or planes, aeroplanes. So they used to run this business, and the war brought this opportunity for the prosperity. So they received an order of the engine heads to be used in the warplanes, and it has to be given at the urgent basis. They prepare the warheads, the engine heads, to be used, to be fitted in the aircraft. But at the time of delivery, Steve Deaver finds that there is hairline crack in the entire batch of the warheads. So he asks, because Joe Keller was not there in the office, he was at home. So he telephones him and asks what to do now, because these are faulty heads and may lead to the crash, may lead to disaster. Joe Keller knows that if he cancels the order right now, in future that could be a problem. His company may ruin. He may not get other orders. So he asked Steve Deaver to make some minor repairs and dispatch the order. Steve Deaver knows that this could be disastrous. If something goes wrong, then the plane would crash. So he is reluctant. But Joe says he cannot come because he is suffering from flu, but he will accept the entire responsibility, all the responsibility. He says, I will take the all legal, moral responsibility, and you do that. It is dispatched, and after some time, they get the news that 21 pilots died in the plane crash, different incidences. And then inquiry takes place, and Steve Deaver and Joe Keller, they are put in the court of law. And there, what happens? Steve Deaver says that I telephoned him, and it was our joint decision. But Joe Keller refutes the claim and pleads that he is not guilty. In the court of law, you cannot prove anything like phone call because it is not considered as a proof. So Joe Keller gets acquitted, whereas Steve Deaver is put behind the bars. Now, this is a story. This is not drama. This is something that happens before the play begins. Now, what is the drama in it? Well, drama begins here. Anne Deaver is the daughter of Steve Deaver. George is his son. Steve is behind the bars. 3.5 years have passed. George has become a successful lawyer. Anne Deaver earlier was in love with Larry Keller. Larry Keller is the elder son of Joe Keller and who was a pilot. Now there is a report that Larry Keller is missing. Now the problem is his body is not found. So he is a missing case. Kate Keller, Larry's mother, she is not ready to believe that her son is dead. So she still believes that because there had been reports that missing soldiers are coming back to home. So she is waiting for Larry to come. Now, Anne Dever, who was expected to marry Larry because they were in love with each other. Now, Anne knows that Larry is no more, he is dead. And Chris proposes Anne. Now, this is what the conflict is. Anne and Chris decide to get married, and for that, they need the permission of their mother, that is Kate. Kate is not ready to give her permission to Chris and Anne. And from there onwards, the conflict starts. Kate believes that Larry is alive because he's just missing, his dead body is not found. And on that ground, she cannot allow Larry's girl, that is Anne, to get married to Chris. Because if she permits Chris to marry Anne, it means that she accepts that Larry is dead. Now, as this discussion takes place, the news comes that George Dever has planned to come to the Kellers because for these 3.5 years, neither George nor Anne have met their father. They hate their father because of his act against humanity. So they have not gone to the prison. Now, what has happened suddenly that George has gone to his father, and when the news of his arrival comes, Joe Keller and Kate Keller, they feel that the case might be reopened and he may reinitiate all these cases. So they are actually worried because Joe and Kate know that they were guilty. So Kate is not allowing Chris and Anne to get married. Now, as the heated discussion takes place, I'm skipping much of its part. As the heated discussion takes place, Anne is asked by Kate to leave the house, leave the home. Kate requests Anne to leave the house, not to marry Chris. Now, at this juncture, Anne delivers a letter to Kate Keller. Now, this letter becomes the catastrophic event of the play. That is known as Deus Ex Machina. That is, you, for example, in Othello, if you have read Othello, it is the handkerchief, Mayor, but it becomes the tragedy of handkerchief because it is not found. Likewise, the letter is there, and this letter brings down the entire roof of this house, these families. What is written in that letter that I will show you because you need to read that. So, what is written in that letter is Larry has accused Steve Dever of acting against, accused Joe Keller, his father, for being responsible for the death not only of his son, but all his sons, all Americans who had been his sons. That is why the title is All My Sons. And when this letter is read by Kate Keller, she's, well, she's so unhappy, so full of sorrow. She requests Anne not to show this letter to anybody. But this is drama. This is how it takes place. Chris comes and he has planned to leave the house, and Anne asks that to him that she also would like to go with her, would go with him, but he rejects. And at that time, Anne takes the letter from Kate and gives it to Chris. And as Chris reads it, Joe Keller comes. He pleads still not guilty, saying that it is business and he has done everything for his son, that is Chris Keller, not for himself. He has done it for him. And when Chris hands over Larry's letter to uh, Joe Keller, it is there he feels shattered. Now look at some of the excerpts from the play. Joe Keller tells his wife after reading the letter. I'm giving this passage after Joe Keller has read the letter sent to him given to him by Larry. So what is there in this letter? Well, mother says, "Why are you going? You will sleep. Why are you going?" Joe Keller says, "I can't sleep here. I will feel better if I go," because he has taken the keys of the cars. He may leave the home and he may commit suicide. That is what the point is. Mother says, "You are so foolish. Larry was your son too, wasn't he? You know he would never tell you to do this." And Keller, looking at the letter in his hand, says, "Then what is this? If it isn't telling me. Sure, he was my son. But I think to him, they were all my sons. All those pilots who died in accident." And from this, you'll see the title of the play has been taken, All My Sons. So Keller says, Larry was my son, it's all right. But for Larry, all Americans were his sons, Keller's sons, Joe's sons. And so he says, and I guess they were, I will be right down. And he exits the house. Now, this is the letter that turns the entire play into tragedy. This letter is written by Larry. And if you could read this letter, he says, well, uh, when I found that I read about dad and your father being convicted, I can't express myself. I can't tell you how I feel. I can't bear to live anymore. Last night I circled the base for 20 minutes. So he says, how could he done that? Every day, 3 or 4 men never come back, and he sits back there doing business. Is this American dream? When people are dying, when his own countrymen are dying, and these people are sitting at home and doing their business, can we call it a business sense? His personal progress is the progress of the family. It's so important that you can just put everything, at the expense of the humanity, at the expense of your own people. I don't know how to tell you what I feel. I can't face anybody. I'm going out on a mission a few minutes. They will probably report me as missing. If they do, I want you to know that you must not wait for me. I tell you, and if I had him there now, I could kill him. So Larry expresses his wish, his anguish that had his father been there, he would have killed him. Now, Chris tells his father, Joe Keller, now blame the world. He says, do you understand that letter? This is the letter written by your son. And this is how you have not only put your friend, that is Steve Deaver, in under behind the bars. No, you have not only deceived yourself, your friend, you have deceived yourself as well, because you have lost your son. Well, and what we talked about, the criticism of American dream. This is a comment by Chris. It has to be read on the backdrop of the idea when Joe Keller pleads not guilty. He says, I have not done it for me. Whatever decisions I took, whatever I have done in my life, I have done it for you, Chris. Now, with burning fury, Chris says, for me, where do you live? Where have you come from? For me, I was dying every day and you were killing my boys and you did it for me. What the hell do you think I was thinking of? Goddamn business. In the entire play, you'll find this word business. Because once, jokingly, one of the American presidents said, it is reported, he said, The only business of the American is the business. If the only business of the American is business, then Arthur Miller asks the question, is it a business? Can we call it a business? Is that, as far as your mind can see, the business? What is the world of business? What the hell do you mean? You did it for me. Don't you have your country? Don't you live in the world? What the hell are you? You are not even an animal. No animal kills his own. What are you? So, says, I ought to tear the tongue out of your mouth. What must I do? This is the anguish. No, this anguish is not just of Chris. This anguish is of any sensible person. That you are not just deceiving yourself. It is not a deception of the self. It is not the deception of others. You are destroying yourselves. And you are doing it because you are not following the simple ethics of humanity. I'm coming to the last slide. And this is the message. If you read the last lines, a shot is heard in the house. We are at the concluding part of the play. A shot is heard in the house because Joe Keller has committed suicide. But prior to that, look at the statement of Chris. You can be better. This comment is not for his father, not just for his mother, not for Anne. This comment is for all of us. You can be better. Once and for all, you can know there is a universe of people outside and you are responsible to it. You are not just responsible to your family, you are not just responsible to your children, you are not just responsible to your own prosperity. There are other people. There is a universe of people outside and you are responsible to it. And unless you know that, you threw away your son because that is why he died. So it is not just the question of one son, it is the question of all my sons. And if you remain in life not taking the responsibility, not being responsible in life, if we just become selfish in life, if we are liable and feel that we are liable to our family only and disregard the human values, then it would be the end not only of your friend, not only of other people, you also will be the part of this total disaster. Well, this is all about all my sons. I hope there are no questions. If there are any questions, I would like to answer them. Thank you very much for uh, letting me this opportunity.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Prashant Manika, sir. And this will surely benefit all my students. Your talk on all my sons. Actually, American Dream is a part of large body of American literature. It appears in poetry, fiction, and also in drama. You explored on the plot, the art of characterization, and the major thematic concerns of all my sons. Also, you talked about the justification of the title and its connections with Second World War. I hope this will help all our students, second year optional English students. Thank you once again. And it was exam oriented. The exams are approaching. They are after 15 days. And this will be a timely help for all our students, your students, and all the students who are join here. Once again, thank you very much, Professor Manika sir.
Thank you all. Thank you all the panelists and the organizers as well.
Yes. May I introduce our today's next speaker, Dr. Datta Sawant sir. He is an associate professor of English from Toshniwal Arts, Commerce and Science College, Sengav. And on online platform, he is very much familiar to all the teachers and the students. He has prepared YouTube videos from first year to third year for all papers and all the texts. So he is a well-known personality for our students. So we are really honored to have you, Dr. Datta Sawant sir here. And Dr. Datta Sawant sir will speak on a short story, To Build a Fire. This is from American literature paper, To Build a Fire by London. I request Professor Dr. Datta Sawant sir to speak on the short story To Build a Fire by London. Professor Dr. Datta Sawant sir. Please.
Yeah, yeah, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for giving me the opportunity. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So the Department of English, KSP Mandal Shivaji Mahavidyalaya Udgir, and Department of English, Maharashtra Udayagiri Mahavidyalaya Udgir, jointly organized this university level online invited lecture series for undergraduate students of English of compulsory optional and SEC. Respected Dr. Vinayak Zadav sir, Principal, Dr. R.R. Tambodi, Dr. Nawale sir, Dr. Nagori madam, and the whole organizing committee, Dr. K.W. Gutte sir, Mr. P.D. Mane sir, Mr. Udgir sir, Mr. S.M. Suryamshi sir, Dr. Gawane sir, Mr. Munde sir, and Amba Sange sir. It's actually an honor for me to be part of this series, lecture series. And dear students, today we are going to talk about a very renowned short story in American literature, that is To Build a Fire by Jack London. Let me tell you the scheme of this lecture. First, we will talk about this story, To Build a Fire. I also provide you in this course of time how you are going to analyze any short story, or what are the basic parameters of analyzing the short story. For that matter, you can also use these parameters or points to analyze a novel and up to some extent a drama. Then we will talk about who was Jack London in brief, because we don't have much time. So I will uh, try to be very brief in all these things and close my session by the time. Then we will talk about the story, that is To Build a Fire. Then we will analyze the story with the parameters which we will initially talking in this series, and then we will conclude the story To Build a Fire. So dear students, let's start with Jack London. I will share my screen so that it would be better to understand a short story. So please enable
Yeah.
my screen. Okay.
I am allowing that privilege to you.
Okay, sir.
Yes, now you are able to share your screen.
So here, dear students, you are looking at the picture of Jack London, and we have a story called To Build a Fire by Jack London. So as I discussed that we will start with what is story. It's in a brief. So I try to give you the definition of story. The story is a work of prose fiction, minimal to novel, short in length, includes a few characters with single setting, which is built to read in single setting. Now, if you look at this short definition, you will understand it is a work of prose fiction. So there is difference between verse style and the prose. You understand prose and verse. Then again, next it is said that it is minimal to novel. So novel is a larger canvas of writing, whereas short story is short in length and it has a few characters compared with novel. It is also important to know that it has set in single sitting, or you will find there is a single place where the short story happens, as one act play most of the times happens in a single sitting. And it is meant to read in single sitting. Just look at the words, setting and sitting are different. Sitting means once you can read this short story, means it is a brief. Based on this definition, we can understand various features of short story, and also these are the parameters to understand a short story. Here you can find there are 9 points. These 9 points will help you to understand any short story, any novel, or any drama for that matter. Here, very first, you need to understand the length of short story. Short story generally composed between 2000 to 6000 words. It is considered the ideal length of a short story, but we also find there are short stories with more length, 8000 and 10,000 words too. But ideal length is considered 2000 to 6000 words. Next point of parameter you can say is plot. So plot is nothing but a chain of events, how events happen in a story, how events happen in a novel or short story or drama too. You have to understand from where the event started, what is the first event, second event, or is there any relation of first event to second, or the flow of events, what is that flow of events is understood in plot. Next we have characters. In story you find 2 to 6 characters because it is a short story. So short in length, short in characters too. So there are 2 to 6 characters. Then dialogues. Dialogues are important part of any literary work except poetry. You find dialogues give reality to the writing. Hence, we find dialogues in the story. In this story, to build a fire, we also have dialogues. And next point or parameter is setting and atmosphere. Here we need to think about setting, means where does these events happen, what is the place, and what kind of atmosphere is there in the story. Next point, dear students, is narrative technique. Basically there are three narrative techniques, and in this story we find that third person narration is used. There is first person narration, second person narration, and third person narration. Third person narrative technique is used often in short stories and novels. In a way we also find first person narrative technique, that is a person from the same story or same novel narrates you the story or tells you the story, and in third person someone outside of the story tells you the story or narrates the events happened in the story. Next point is theme. So theme is nothing but an idea which is running throughout the story, a prominent idea running throughout the story. There are different themes in different novels or short stories. In to build a story, we will analyze this theme too. And last 2 points also are important regarding short story. That is opening. How does short story begins, or how does this short story ends, or what is the closing of short story? Now, I hope you got these points. These points are important to analyze a short story, and based on these points, you can analyze short story. You need not to consider other material if you have these points with you and you will analyze any short story for that matter. I'm not talking about to build a fire only here, but it is in general. You can analyze any short story based on these points. So remember these points, try to understand these points. Now, next we will start Jack London's To Build a Fire. Before that, I would like to share some light on who was Jack London, because it is important. Jack London was one of the celebrated American writers. He was born in 1876 and died in 1916 in California. So this time span also is important. If you look at this time span, 1876 to 1916, it is only a 40 years time span. It means that he received a very little time to write. And if you look at his writing career, you will find that only in 16 years of his writing career, he composed more than 50 books. And for your curiosity, he earned a large amount of wealth only through writing. He earned 14 acres of property in Glen Allen, California, where he wanted to build a ranch. A ranch is nothing but a large farm property. And he earned this beauty ranch only through writing. So this can be inspirational for you. You also can write short stories or novels in future. You can choose your career option as writing, because this may motivate you or this can motivate you. He earned a lot of wealth through writing. Dear students, he contributed to science fiction. His science fiction is very popular. And we have here his popular novel called The Scarlet Plague, which is very famous. And it is said that in this COVID pandemic, there are many quotations used from the Scarlet Letters. If you look at this time, in the words of Charles Dickens, it is the best of the times and the worst of the times. Best in the sense that you can use this time for creative purpose or creativity. It is worst, as we all know that this pandemic has made us very live in a bad situation, or which has stuck all our movements. Dear students, we will start Jack London's To Build a Fire with a famous quotation of Jack London, so that we can get some inspiration or motivation from Jack London. So he says, the proper function of man is to live, not to exist. Please pay attention to these words. I shall not waste my days in trying to prolong them. I shall use my time. It is important to use our time. Whatever time we have, we must use it creatively. Now, dear students, let's start with Jack London's To Build a Fire, a story published in 1908. And I think it is composed before that, but published in 1908. Now, it is important to know the backdrop or background of this story, or what is there in the story. So, there is a phenomena happened in America in 1890s, which is called gold rush. There were many Americans who set their expeditions, set their travels to find the gold in Yukon territory in Canada. There is a territory called Yukon, and in this territory, our story To Build a Fire happens. So to find out gold, many Americans went on these expeditions. They travels in a very disastrous atmosphere in a cold region called Yukon. Here you can see this region Yukon on the map of United States. Here, this is the Yukon territory in Canada, and there happened this event, gold rush. Actually, there is no mention of this words gold rush in the story, but the backdrop or the background of the story clearly states that it is in this region of Yukon after this gold rush, because we have references of Jack London, who also said this expedition to find gold and become rich in a little time, and hence he had genuine experience of visiting this Yukon territory, which is the setting of our story To Build a Fire. There is another reference of a place in this story, that is Chilkoot Pass. As you can see, this is the snowy mountain, and this region is called Chilkoot Pass, from where the person goes and he sets his journey to find out a camp in this Yakun territory. So this is the setting, we can say, of our story, because setting is important. We should know about where does these events happens. There is another reference of a village or a town. Now it has become a very beautiful city, Dawson town. You can see this is Yakun river. This is a snowfall region, Yakun river, and this is the Dawson city. And there is a reference in the story that it is 70 miles, means this Yakun territory or the camp where the other boys stayed, 70 miles from this Dawson city. So these three places are important in the story. Now, dear students, there are only two characters in the story. As I already talked that in a story, character may be from 2 to 6, and hence in this story we have only two characters. There is a man who does not have a name, just it is referred as man, and other we have his dog. You can see in the picture, and you also can observe the what kind of atmosphere might be there. This is a snowy region. This is cold, extreme cold region where uh, you need many means for survival, and fire is one of the significant means of survival in this region. We can understand through this picture. Now, dear students, let me tell you the story properly. What happens in the story? It is very clear that a man sets his journey from one point to reach another point. And what happens in these 2 points is this story to build a fire. Now the weather conditions of this region is extreme cold. There is an old timer called Sulphur Creek, and he warns this man not to go in that region because the conditions are extreme cold, and it is very difficult to survive or even exist in this kind of situation. But still, the man sets his journey, sets his expedition to reach to another point, that is the camp, which is given in the story. He starts his journey right in the morning at 9 o'clock or before that 9 o'clock. And in the afternoon, he travels a long distance. But he was a Chechako. Now, this word comes in the story, Chechako. Chechako means a newcomer. It is a native word used in Yakun territory, means newcomer. So he was a newcomer in this territory, and it was his first winter in such bad weather conditions. In the afternoon, he suffers a lot from the extreme cold and he needs fire. In first attempt, he sets fire and he becomes successful in setting the fire there in this territory. And he thinks that how he is fortunate that he is going to have the gold after some time. But after some time, when he again starts his journey, he finds that the weather, the frost bites are unbearable and the weather is going extremely cold. There is reference that the weather measured there is 50 degree below zero, means it's a complete minus kind of weather and temperature recorded there. And now he feels that he, although he said the journey, the difficulties are there and he has to face many difficulties. Again, he finds that again he needs to burn a fire, light a fire, and he starts lighting the fire. In the course of that, his hands gets numb. They gets numb, and it is very difficult him to light the fire. But in those difficulty, he again second time becomes successful for setting the fire, and he burns the fire. But unfortunately, a heap of snow falls on his fire from the tree, spruce tree there, and the fire gets stopped. And again he feels exhausted and he needs warmth. His dog with him, actually the instinct of dog was that he did not want to travel further, but the intellect of man forced the dog to travel further. And at the end, he suffers extremely from the cold and succumbs to death. It is the ending of the story. Here, the story ends. A man sets his journey from one point to reach the another point, and between he suffers, he struggles with nature, because here we find different types of themes occur in this story, which we are going to discuss here. And at the end, the man dies. We can say that it is a sad story. The ending of the story is sad. And here, Jack London depicted the struggle of man against the nature. All the time, we find that these kind of struggles happen. And most of the times, nature uh, overcomes the human being. The same thing is disclosed in this story. Now, dear students, we'll analyze this story based on these parameters or based on these points. The very first point we discussed is length. If you measure the length of this short story, you will find there are approximately 7,104 words. Means it is not too short story, it is a longer short story. You have 7,000 words in this short story. It means you have minute description of all the things happened in the short story. For example, here we have description of the wild atmosphere, we have description of snow, we have description of the place, we have description of the trees and jungle in the short story. So these 7,000 words contribute to the enhancement of the story. This is the length of the short story. It is not too short, but a longer short story of 7,000 words. The second point is plot. What is the plot of this short story? The plot is very simple. It is a journey from morning to evening. The man sets his journey or expedition from a point to reach to a second point. But in the course of this journey, there happens many things. He suffers from the cold, extreme cold atmosphere. He repents on his decision and he forces dog to travel further. These kind of things happen in the plot one by one. Next point, only there are two characters. We have a man and a dog. These two characters are representative of human beings. How? Because the man here represents the intellectual side of human beings and the dog the very instinct. And here we find that instinct is more important than intellect in some cases in this story. So only these two characters we have, man and dog. There are other characters. For example, there is an old timer, but we do not have more description of this old timer. There is only one reference. Then we have some boys at the part of that camp, at the side of that camp, but it also do not have more development of these characters, the old timer and the other boys. Only two major characters we have, and this man is the protagonist of the story, the main character of the story. Next, we have dialogues. Actually, there are not many dialogues in the short story, but whatever happens, it is told by a third person. This story is narrated by third person. What is going in the mind of that person also is told by the third person, and hence we find there are a few dialogues, and among them we have one of, and this is the last words of this man on the deathbed. "You were right, old horse, you were right," the man mumbled to old timer of Sulphur Creek. Now this old horse is referred to this old timer. He repents his decision, why he started this journey, and these are the last words of the man. But these last words give liveliness to the story, and it reaches us to the mind of that old person or that man who set this travel or journey. Next, students, we have setting and atmosphere. As I already shown you, you have Yokun territory. It's a wild snow covered land, as you see in the picture. This kind of land is represented in the story Yokun territory, and all events happen in this Yokun territory on the snow land. Next, we have narrative technique. Here, the author uses third person narration or omniscient narrative technique to tell the story. He uses pronoun like he and the nouns like man and dog, and hence everything is told by this third person or the writer or narrator. Now, next is an important part of any literary work, or here in this case short story. We have themes. Here are many themes. Just I will give you points of all these themes. Here we have prominent themes. If you read the story, you will find many themes rather than these themes too. So here first we have relationship between man, nature and animal. Then second we have knowledge, lack of experience and use of it. So second theme is important because humans are the kind of animals on this earth planet who has knowledge, but most of the times we lack in experience. Actually, this weather condition is known to the man in this short story, but he lacks experience and how to use that knowledge and experience, and then he becomes the victim of the old cold weather or extreme condition of nature. Next thing we have instinct and intellect. Man represent intellect and the dog represents instinct. Next thing we have death. If you look at this atmosphere, if you look at the words used to describe this atmosphere, you will find that there is an existence of death throughout this short story. The very beginning, when you read this short story, you will notice that there might be happen something very severe in the story based on the description you find in the story. Next we have helplessness. So man becomes helpless in this condition and he could not survive in the cold weather condition. Next we have wilderness, wilderness of the atmosphere, wilderness of the region, wilderness of the jungle. Next theme we have struggle to survive or struggle to exist. The man's struggle is shown in the story. You read this story and you will understand these points very easily. Dear students, next we have opening of the story. Many things are covered in the opening of the story, short story, because short story is relatively less in length, and hence writer has to imbibe everything in the story, and hence he has to use the words very carefully in any short story. Here we have the opening line of the short story. The short story begins with this line, I quote, "Day had broken cold and grey, exceedingly cold and grey, when the man turned aside from the main Yokun trail and climbed the high earth bank where," and in this way the story goes on. You see here this word day had broken cold and gray, and again the same words are used, cold and gray. This intensifies the atmosphere in the story. This intensifies the conditions, weather conditions in the story. Exceedingly cold, you see how author has narrated or how author has used this kind of diction in the story to enhance the or focus the atmosphere, the weather condition. This is the opening. In the opening or first paragraph you will get the characters and the main plot of the story or the main crux of the story in the very first paragraph. Here when the man is a character we have here, and you also have setting Yakun trail, climb the high earth bank. So this is the importance of the opening paragraph or opening lines of the short story. So this is the opening of to build a fire. And the last point here we have closing or ending. How does story ends? If you read Arkenara short stories, you will find there is a very different kind of ending provided by Arkenara. In the same way, any author or a short story writer provides you some different kind of ending or closing. This is the last paragraph of the story to build a fire, and I quote here, "Then the man dozed off into what seemed to him the most comfortable and satisfying sleep he had ever known." Now look at this first line of the last paragraph. the man dozed off into what seemed to him the most comfortable and satisfying sleep. Means he is gradually dying. He is dying there. And this is expressed in this last paragraph of the first line. Then you have last line here I recorded. Then it turned and trotted up the trail in the direction of the camp it knew, where the other food providers and fire providers. Now this it is used for the dog. Dog survives the weather conditions because he has hairs on his skin and he has a very tough skin to face such kind of weather or tough weather. So the dog turned and trotted up the trail. Dog leaves that man who is dying there. This is the ending of the short story. You can understand when you read this short story completely. Now, dear students, I hope you got the overall idea of this short story. If still you have any doubt, any query, any kind of concern regarding short story, you can go to my YouTube channel Literature Simply. I have just given you here. Then I also have a Telegram channel called Literature Simply with the same name, where I post notes and other study material. You can also join there, and there is a website called literaturesimply.com where you can find many articles I posted. And if you want to ask me questions based on this short story, or if you need any material or own notes, you can directly contact me on this email, contactliteraturesimply@gmail.com. So dear students, thank you very much for listening to me very carefully. I hope we will meet in such kind of sessions next. Nawale sir, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Datta Sawant sir. Dr. Nawale sir, is there any question from the student side for Dr. Datta Sawant sir?
Professor Dr. Mamta Neminwar has raised a hand. Dr. Mamta ji, are you there? Dr. Mamta Neminwar, are you there? If you have any question, I will promote you.
Dr. Sawant sir, you can stop sharing your screen now.
Yes, I stopped already.
Okay.
I am allowing her to talk.
Okay.
Just yes. More. Ma'am, start your video, or without video also you may ask, or you may share what you want to. Just we have promoted you to screen on screen. Dr. Mamta John Pulivar, ma'am. Unmute. Unmute yourself, please. Yes. There is no question.
Okay.
Okay, by error, he pressed that button of raising the hand.
Okay. Dear students, this was Dr. Datta Sawant on a short story, To Build a Fire, by Jack London. Yes, London is his surname, and he is an American writer, and London is not the name of city. Remember, students, your exams are going to be in multiple choice questions pattern. So you should pay attention to the names of the writers, names of the texts, the places of the settings, names of the characters, and the character relationships in various texts which you are studying for this semester. Thank you very much, Dr. Datta Sawant sir. As your website name is Literature Simply, or your YouTube channel is entitled Literature Simply, this deliberation was simplified elaboration on Jack London's story to build a fire. And your talk, I'm sure your talk will build you will build a fire among students to start preparing for the exams. Once again, thank you very much, Dr. Datta Sawant sir, for your simplified talk on To Build a Fire by Jack London. Thank you very much. Dear friends, students, for this day 2, session 2, the last but not the least speaker is Dr. Nitin Doke sir. And I would like to mention here, he is one of my favorite teachers. He taught me phonetics when I was the first year student of graduation at Rajarshi Shahu College, Latu. And today he is going to speak on one of the important topics from skill enhancement course for second year optional English students. And the topic is employability skills. And as you know, students, unemployment is a big issue today. It is widely discussed on global platform, at the center, at the national level. And considering the importance of the topic, employability skills is a part of your skill enhancement course. And today there is more a problem of employability rather than the problem of unemployment. Dr. Nitin Doke completed his PhD under the guideship of Dr. Mahesh Nivargisa. Currently, Dr. Nitin Doke is working as an associate professor in the postgraduate department of Dayanand College of Arts, Latur. And we are truly privileged to have Dr. Nitin Doke to speak on employability skills for the students of skill enhancement course of BA second year. I welcome Dr. Nitin Doke sir, and I request him to start his talk on the employability skills. Dr. Nitin Doke sir, please.
Thank you, Kamlakar. I don't know whether I deserve the words of praise that you have placed. Right. First of all, I must place on record my sincere thanks to and words of appreciation for the organizing team of Udayagiri College as well as SHIVAJI College. A few days before, I had a call from Dr. Nawale, and he asked me to speak on some SEC topic. I simply said that, well, I don't teach that. Right. But anyway, out of the loving pressure, I accepted to talk on this SEC topic, employability skills, and I feel like I'm just doing a job of filling in. Right. So, Mrs. Lakhotia Madam, Dr. Lakhotia Madam, Dr. Nawale, all the organizing team, I would like to share my PPT first.
1 minute. Wait.
Yes.
Yes, now we are able to
Okay.
hear it.
Just one sec. There is some issue. Is it visible, sir?
It is visible, but look at its orientation. Is it proper or not?
The PPT is visible, I hope.
Yes, yes. PPT is visible. Are you sharing it from mobile?
From mobile.
Okay. Now it's
my laptop has a camera problem. So I hope the PPT is visible to all people, and I'm audible.
No. You change the orientation of PPT. I am being seen there instead of your PPT.
Oh.
No. How I am there?
Now is it?
Yes. Now it is. You have shared my screen. It is okay. Yes.
So I'll be talking today on acquisition of communications in English, a need to increase employability. Okay. So I have set two targets before me. By the end of this session, you'll be able to understand what exactly is communication, why we need communication, and how of that communication. Though my focus shall be on the so-called problem areas, because right from 1997, I have been a teacher of English, and whatever experiences I have got from these years, I'll be sharing with you because I have observed many students who have the so-called problem and they run away from using English for their communication. So that's the reason I have called it so-called problem, because these problems are not really the problem. Right. Okay. Now, the present scenario, when I look at, it's rather very troublesome to a person like me. As Dr. Manikar was saying in his introduction that, well, he was a proud student of this Udayagiri college. My unfortunate fact is I couldn't get admission for my MA in Udayagiri college. Now, why I'm saying this? Because presently when I observe the number of students who opt for English station or English optional is decreasing very rapidly. Right? Even the students who come for PG course like MA in English, it's a very bigger number. So why and how, even though the students understand the importance of English, the need of English for further success or further employability, etc., still the number of students who opt for this English optional or English MA is is decreasing. The reason I don't understand, because I remember my times as I couldn't get admission. Well, when I became a teacher in 1997, in my English optional class, there used to be more than 100 students, BA, BSc second and third as well. More than 100 students in one class. So if that was the response in that time, presently, if I look at, we have to persuade the students, come on, opt for English, this will help you that way, this way. Now, what may be the reason, right? So that is what it troubles me. We, of course, the teaching fraternity should think on this very serious issue, because the number of students and the reason behind decreasing that response is to English as such, even though they understand the importance of English. Okay. Students, if you just have a look at this PPT, the first point that I would like to share with you is that in every walk of life, there are huge changes taking place around the world, in our world. So the scenario of the world is changing in almost all fields. Let it be technology, let it be science, or even the way we are clothing. Right? There are constant changes taking place, and we have to ask ourselves, well, are we ready for those changes? Are we competent enough for those changes? Can we compete in those scenarios? Right? And when it comes to employability or employment, the scenario has changed in the job market. There are different demands by the employers. They don't want just a candidate with a degree. Gone are those days when you just get a degree, when you pass the degree and you approach someone and you get a job. Gone are those days. Now there are ever increasing demands by the employers. What sort of a candidate they are looking for? And are our graduates employable in that sense? Right. So, dear students, we'll have to think about this issue also. Along with communication, there are many other skills that the employers are looking for. Whether the candidate has some team management skills, or whether he could be a team leader, or he could be a risk taker, or there are so many other skills that the employers are looking for. So, carrying just a degree in the job market is not going to help us. It won't matter. And somewhere my feeling goes like our traditional education fails in making our students employable. Of course, I whatever statements I'll be making, some of those statements my teaching fraternity may not accept, agree, right? And I'm going to openly make those statements, but kindly bear with me. Somewhere I feel like our traditional education fails. It's only in the recent time we have started focusing on skill building, right? But still, the question remains in my mind that if we are aiming at developing skills among the students, do the teachers have themselves those skills? Is it not just bookish business that we are handing over to the students? Right. Okay, let us not go to that controversy. What the point here is, the global employers are expecting the candidates, the graduates, or even postgraduates, the students who have ample number of skills, they have abilities, they have proper attitudes and aptitudes, right? Okay, you must have watched this movie, Three Idiots, and there was a song in that movie, right? Life milegi ya tawe pe fry ho. Now, what that movie told us is pressures, and pressures. So, pressure of success, pressure of employment, pressure from family side, pressure from friends side, right? There are huge expectations. And once you enter the final year of your graduation, the questioning eyes are there always looking at you. Now, what next? Whether he or she is going to get a job or not, right? So, out of those pressures, if you succumb to those pressures, of course, I think the result will be something different. If you just look at the two images here, there are some similarities and differences, right? In both the cases, there is an egg. In both the cases, the egg is broken, but the difference over there is in from which direction the egg is broken. Just by outside pressures, if the egg is broken, it's bound to result that there would be a death. But the other picture tells us that if the egg breaks from within, surely there is a life. So it is the right time for us to take a suitable, proper decision that whether I have to, whether I'll succumb to those pressures or whether I'll come out of those shells and build a life for myself. Whether I'll be getting those skills which are so very necessary for me to succeed in getting employment, etc. Okay. Another unfortunate fact, let me share it with you. Of course, this is not a matter to be shared, but I felt like uh, the present generation of students must come to know about. These are the two images that I have taken, rather I took in 2011 when I was forming an invigilation duty on BCA third year students, BCA third year, I mean, right? So you understand that the education that they get through English medium. Parents have invested huge amount in that education, and surely parents expect some good returns of that. If you just carefully look at the way the exam seat number is written in words, and I was shocked to look at the spelling of 17 in both the cases, right? And the spelling of 7 in the second case. Now, if this is what the condition of BCA third year students, what about others who seek their education in English? English, of course, all the computer education, computer teaching, learning takes place in English, right? And right from fifth standard, if we have been studying English, if this is what the condition of simplest spellings like 7, what would be the future? Future is dark, right? So a person like me, when looks at such a condition, I'm really troubled that what the students are doing, and are they really worried about their own future, the future of their own parents, the future of their alma mater, right? So this is what the horrible condition presently going on. Even well, this is 2011. Just last year itself, I was on an invigilation, and a third year student one again. I had repeated her that write the seat number in words. She tried. I gave her the spellings as well, and there was a digit like 8. I said write 8, and she wrote it ATE. Is it not shocking if you are pursuing the education at third year level? So that's all. Okay, let me not spend much time in that. Okay, as I said that I'll be focusing on the problem areas, which most of the people, most of the learners complain that, well, these are what the problem areas and because of which I cannot communicate in English. Some of the problem areas I have mentioned here in my slide, and there may be some other as well. Let me go one by one. Most of the learners feel like, well, I don't know grammar of English language, and that's how I'm unable to use English for my communication. Is grammar so very necessary? My question is. And my favorite words regarding grammar, if I use, that people generally consider that grammar is a dry, dull, boring subject. Is it? Yes, I agree. But I agree partially. Because grammar itself is not dry, dull, boring subject. It is the teacher or the learner who makes it dry, dull, boring. Grammar could be interesting. Okay, another argument that I make is it so very essential? And as a learner, if you start uh, learning a language focusing more on grammar, you will never succeed. You'll never succeed because your focus would be on those rules and regulations of uh, better grammar or better standard language answer, and you get diverted, right? I think I don't teach compulsory English, but I think it was there a topic like spoken and broken English by G.B. Shaw. Same, I think, argument that he is making there, right? So, if you start studying language or focusing on language, developing those communication skills in English with grammar, I don't think within 1 or 2 days you will stop doing it because the way focus gets diverted instead of language we are going with the grammar itself, right? And of course right from fifth standard or seventh standard the way grammar we learn, the way it was taught, right, it is so mechanical, it is so mechanical and disinterested way that we learn, right? We just focus on the rules and as the second issue that I must argue is many people say that, well, vocabulary, we don't have sound vocabulary, and that's how we cannot speak in English or we cannot use English for our communication. Right. Now, if we have been studying English right from fifth standard, still can't we improve? Why can't we improve? My question is it something that our approaches were wrong? Because, well, it's a fashion that for developing my communication skills on 1st January, I decide I take some resolution that, well, today onwards, I will by heart 10 words every day, right? No doubt, I support. Go on doing it. But what happens is we are by hearting it. We are mugging those words. First day 10, next day 10, next day 10, next day 10. And on day 4, first day's 10 words are gone somewhere. We don't remember them. We don't even recollect what those words were. Right? Another problem with vocabulary is that our approach to vocabulary is through Marathi. Right? Our approach to the vocabulary, the new word is through Marathi. We understand the word totally in Marathi. And how can we say then, well, we'll remember? No. My humble suggestion to, oh, if there are some tools, my humble suggestion is that don't mug up, don't by heart. I say 10 words or 5 words or 25 words, it is no limit. I say that study just one word every day. It's enough. I say study, not mug up, not by heart. Because if you study the word in English itself, I'm using the word very consciously, study, because when you study a single word, that single word will take you to 25 different words simultaneously. Its synonyms, its antonyms, its homonyms, and all the related relations the word may have. So if you study a word in this fashion, simultaneously you're studying some 25 words, right? So that would be a better approach. And unless you start using that word in your own sentences, right? Parents love their own child, not the neighbor's child. So if we create our own sentences, we'll remember them for a longer time. So vocabulary is a unnecessarily posed problem. Of course, if we approach the vocabulary issue with particular proper method, a good dictionary with you, whenever you have off time, of course, you can go for that dictionary. Just I said that study a single word every day, which will take you to some 25 different words simultaneously. Another problem area, most of the people say that, well, the structure of English language and the structure that the language that we speak, let us say Marathi or Hindi, our mother tongue, the structure is very, very, very different. Yes, I do agree. I do agree. There are surely some structural differences, right? Uh, in English, we have the appearance of verb immediately after the subject, but in Marathi or Hindi, it comes at the end of the sentence. Surely there would be some problem, structure related problem, but the solution is possible. Solution possibly next slide. I'll talk on that solution. Well, many people are worried about this pronunciation issue. I don't think so. That having good pronunciation is so very essential. Even if you pronounce father as father, and the other side understands what you want to say, where is the problem? Let it be that you will come to know that fur in English is labiodental, not bilabial. Let it be. But unless you start with this bilabial fur, you cannot. Our another problem here is that we give unnecessary weightage, unnecessary importance to this accuracy issue as well. So having better pronunciation, of course, it's the beauty of your speech, but it's not so very essential. Unless we start the way we know sound system of the language, unless we start with that, we may not improve. Time will come when we'll come to understand the newer ways of pronouncing the same words. Right? Okay, let me come to the psychological problem. So far, it was language related. Now, there are some psychological problems that we unnecessarily suffer from. We carry some unnecessary fear or phobia regarding the language. Did we ask ourselves, where does this phobia come from? Why does it come? And who is responsible? It's our own creation. right? We unnecessarily fear others. Instead, we should fear us. We are unnecessarily bothered by others. What people will say. If I commit a mistake, what will people laugh at me? Some such unnecessary fears that we carry on our mind, and that's how we run away from using English for our day-to-day communication, right? So this problem, and a solution to this, again, the next slide will talk about this. Uh, Again, there are some people who complain that, well, we don't have atmosphere at our home, in our college, around us. We don't have suitable atmosphere. So how can we get language, good command over English, or how can we communicate well in English? Now, my question is, how long shall we cry for this lack of atmosphere? How long shall we cry for this lack of atmosphere? And who is responsible for this? And is it not possible for us to create atmosphere around us? So if there are some students who have joined here, I'll just give you a tip. Today, when you go home, right, of course, you must be at home. After finishing this session, just ask your mother, could you give me a glass of water, please? A simple sentence in English. Mother, could you or can you give me a glass of water, please? Our mothers are not so cruel. They'll not respond it like, are your legs broke? Are your hands broke? You may say that, well, my mother doesn't understand English. At least she'll understand a simple word like glass, a simple word like water. She'll understand. But she'll be surprised to know that, well, something has happened. My child has tried to speak something in English. Even though she doesn't understand, she'll respond positively. Another thing that I would like to share with you, that we have youngsters at our home, kids, school-going kids, right? Our brothers, sisters. If we start communicating with them in broken English, I don't mean the broken English, or I don't mean the hi-fi English, or whatever wording people use. If we start speaking with them, or communicating with them with broken, whatever level of language I know, I must start with that. So we must create the atmosphere, and don't blame others that, well, there is no atmosphere for us or atmosphere with us, because of which we cannot communicate in English. Another problem that comes to my mind, or came to my mind, that, well, people must be thinking that, well, there is a lack of confidence. They don't have confidence, and that's why they run away, they shun away the situation wherever they are expected to communicate in English. Now, where to get this confidence? I'm sure there is no mall, there is no show which sells this confidence. Confidence must be inner generated, right? So, where to get it and how to get it? Issue is, unless we start and unless we continue with those efforts, our confidence level is never going to increase. Our confidence level surely is not never going to increase. So constant practice, constant focus is the only way to generate that confidence, to build up that confidence. And once again, we should not blame others for this, right? Okay, then some people say that, well, we want to try, we want to learn, or we want to communicate in English, but because of the absence of the other side, we don't have practice. We don't have practice. So where to practice, with whom to practice, when to practice? These are all the unnecessary questions people or students raise. Now, practice is the only solution on this, whatever so-called problems are. Initiation, continuation, and then success. That's the state. That's the state. Right. So, uh, why are our friends? What for they are? What for our family members? What for our younger brothers and sisters? Let us make better use of them. Okay, mother may not be educated, at least father must be graduate, postgraduate. If you start interacting with the family members first, or very close friends first, of course, the automatically you'll get the practice, right? And The friends or the family members surely will encourage you to continue. It is also their benefit as long as even as your benefit. Along with that, others also will be benefited. So it is we who have to create the atmosphere. It is we who have to build up the courage. It is we who have to keep that phobia aside. Right. Okay. Some people say that, well, we don't have knowledge of English. And there is a big question on our education system itself. That how come then, if we have been studying English right from fifth standard, at least my generation started studying English right from fifth standard, yours maybe right from first standard, right? If we have been studying from that period, and still we say we lack knowledge, we lack vocabulary, we lack say the understanding of English grammar, etc. Right? And then finally, there is a peculiar mindset that crab-like mindset. If somebody is trying to communicate in English, there are people who comment, who taunt, right? Who discourage, right? There is a peculiar mindset of this, and I call it a crab-like thing, right? If somebody is trying to climb up, pull him down, pull him or her down, right? Discourage that. Now, if these are what the problem areas, uh, my final argument in regard of this is we say, well, I cannot communicate in English. My question is, when did you start? When did you try? Do you remember any time, any moment that you entered the class or you came on the stage and attempted to communicate in English with your friends in the class itself? Surely not. Unless you start, how can we say that I don't know how to? Right? So let me go to the next slide. I hope my time is still there. Okay. My uh, arguments in the previous session were the previous slide were that I'll give solution. I'll give solution to those problems, and here is the solution. Right? If we just ask ourselves that, well, I hope we dream not in a day, of course in the night, because that's the sign of normalcy. Dreaming or having dreams is a sign of normalcy. So, do dreams have language? People may have diverse response to this. Some people say that, well, dreams don't have language. Then how do we understand the dream? How do we interpret that dream? Some people say that, well, dreams have language. And question is, which language? And is it possible then to say that, well, today I'll go home, today I'll go to bed and dream in Chinese. Next day I'll dream in Japanese. No. So whatever language I know is the language of that dream. Right. Now the solution, ultimate solution that I feel, my experience has taught me this. The ultimate solution to all the problems that we face regarding communication in English is our thinking habits. Look at the fact. We want to communicate in English and our thinking happens in our mother. Our thinking takes place in either Marathi or Hindi. Even God could not put a fix a software in the throat that you think in some language and when it comes out, it gets translated. Even God could not create such a technology or such a software. Is it possible to develop the habit of thinking in the language which you want to communicate in? And that's the ultimate solution to all our problems because we didn't attend any spoken Marathi class and still we comfortably speak in Marathi without hesitation, with mannerism. It's because the way we are exposed to that language and the way we have internalized the system of that language, we are comfortable with our mother tongue. Is it not possible to internalize the system of a foreign language like English, developing the habit of thinking in the same language that you want to communicate? Right? Now you may say that, well, how is it possible? Just go on thinking. There is no need. Imagine that you're going home after your college and you come across a very fine, beautiful young girl about whom you want to talk, you want to tell your friend. Just think, no need of a friend there, no need of a meeting a friend there. Just think that how will I tell that well how beautiful that girl was? Is it difficult? No. Even though you are watching, even you are watching some nonsense serial or a movie, whatever the character is speaking, performing a dialogue over there, if the dialogue is in English, how it would be? Just think, just think, and once it becomes a habit of thinking in the same language that you want to communicate in, all your problems are over. All the problems are over. I hope I have made my point clear. Uh, as actually I discussed this issue with Dr. Nawale that I wanted to interact with the students, so that's how I had arranged some activities for interaction, but it's not possible. He said there are some technical issues. So what I have, I'll just show some images are there with me.
That is not, Dr. Doke, that is not possible, but there are two questions from one girl named Anita Khandelwal. May I promote her on screen? She wished to ask two questions to you and one question.
Sure.
Is, may I promote her now?
Yeah, you can.
1 minute. I am allowing her. Anita Khandelwal, introduce yourself and ask your questions to Dr. Doke, and one question you wish to ask to Dr. Sawant.
Sir, I am audible?
Yes, you are audible. You may start your video also if you wish, or you may talk without enabling video. Introduce you from which college you are?
Sir, I am from Late Nitin College, Pathri.
Okay. You asked the 3 questions in Q&A. I replied to 3. Okay.
Okay.
But one question deals with Dr. Samant regarding your MCQ problem. He will reply later. I am not sure whether he is there or not. Okay. But you ask both the questions to Dr.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Ankita.
How can we build a career by English, sir?
There are limitless opportunities with English.
But we didn't get opportunity, sir.
How is it? Which area you tried it? Which field you tried it? Go anywhere, go into any field, you will find that the people who have good command over English, the people who have good competence in English will get priority, will be prioritized, will get job opportunities rather very easily. Yes, please. Huh?
I hope you got proper answer, Anita Khandelwal.
Yes, sir. But we all are studied better, but we didn't get opportunity.
No,
how that is
in
possible?
which class you are studying now?
Yes.
In which class you are studying now?
BA second year.
Then till you complete your PG, you will get employment.
Your voice is not audible.
Dr. Samant also.
Can I talk to her? Can I talk to her?
Yeah, you talk. No, you reply. Just I interview.
The problem.
You ask to Dr. Sawant.
Okay. So the problem with the students in our area is, if at all they opt for English, they want to become a teacher or a lecturer. Is it the only destination where we can reach? No, there are so many other fields like journalism, like aviation, and so many other fields, even software, IT industry,
Another device is open there.
No.
There is a problem.
Ankita, mute yourself. Hello. Ankita.
Yes, sir.
So there are just a destination to just a teacher is not the destination. There are so many other fields. Even IT industry, without knowledge of software, you can have a very fine job. You can have, without even that software knowledge, you can have still a very fine job if you are competent with one or two more languages. So getting an opportunity is not an issue. How you approach that could say, without even getting any job, you can still earn a lot as a translator. Presently, do you know the rate of translation per page? Approximately 20-30 rupees per page. So sitting at home, you can earn in thousands. So that's not an issue. Okay, it seems to me that you are good in English, but can you see the image there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there are some incongruities in this image. Can you just tell me, or suppose that you are telling this about this image, what's wrong with this image to your friends? How will you tell it? There are so many faults. There are so many incongruities. Have a look at the wall clock.
Yes, sir.
Have a look at the cage. Have a look at the fish pond.
Ankita, what is there in cage?
A fish, sir.
Ankita, reply to Dr. Cook. Questions. What is there in cage?
How will you say it? I don't expect to say grammatical or correct English. A broken English is okay to begin. Yes.
Ankita, unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
And respond to Dr. Doket's question, please.
There are so many problems in the picture. Can you comment on those problems?
Yeah, sir. Problem is the wall clock.
Okay, what is there with wall clock?
There's timing, and also we didn't get in time.
So how do you come to know about the time? It's with the hands of the clock. So the hands are missing. घड्याळाचे काटे म्हणतो ना आम्ही, hands. That is hands. So they are missing. Okay. Any other problem in the picture?
Then outdoor.
Okay. I thought so. As you are a girl, you will be looking at the fashion and the curtains over there. Okay. What is there outside? There is an aeroplane. There is some problem with the aeroplane. Yes.
And there is in the table and.
Right. Okay. Carry on. On the table, you find a teapot, a fish pond. So what is there? What is there in the fish pond?
There is in the bowl. We just.
So what is there in the bowl? What is there in the bowl? And exactly, if you look at up there, cage, what do you find? Anyway, let us not.
There is the man, and he's in hand a book.
Okay, he holds the book, but he holds it upside down.
Also opposite side.
Okay, upside down. That's it. What about his shoe?
And shoes also man's.
Okay, good try. What about the September month?
Yes, sir.
Calendar that September.
And September 31.
So is it possible to have 31 days? September has 30 days. What about the doormat? Doormat. Anyway, let's not spend time. Dr.
But
Nawale,
in these pictures are so many problems.
that's what I wanted to communicate to the students and making them see, making them react this English so that this will be the beginning. They'll start at least now. Right? Dr. Nawale, you can mute her now. I'm about to finish. So what I wanted to say is,
Anita, remain on stage. Let him conclude. Then you ask your question on drama regarding MCQ to Dr. Samant or Mandikar.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I will answer.
Carry on, Dr.
Okay.
yeah. So to the teaching fraternity, let me communicate a little bit. These are the funny ways with which we can introduce to our students and make them at least react, make them at least start something in English, right? Okay. There is something on a screen now. So what our ultimate target is, not this one, English, Globalish is okay. Because by the time you say, would you please be so kind as to point me in the direction of the premises where I'll find some relief, God knows what will happen. So Globalish is okay. Toilet things. Okay. Let's see. Anyway, so communication, previous slide, I missed it. Communication is, learning a communication is just like learning swimming. Sitting on a bank of a river, you cannot learn swimming unless you enter the water, unless you move your hands and legs and take some efforts and continue with those efforts. You'll not learn swimming at all. Same is the case with learning any foreign language. Right? I forgot to tell you, there is a linguist who stated very beautifully that if you want to master a language, one thing you have to learn first is to how to murder that language. If you want to master a language, any foreign language, you have to learn how to murder that language first. And if you continue with that murdering, you'll definitely master that. That is the simple principle of getting comfortable with any language, any foreign language. We must learn how to. There may be mistakes. Continue with your efforts, and a stage will come that, well, you'll be comfortable. Our problem here is most of our students want to communicate in English excellent right at the beginning. Is it possible to reach the 10th step of a ladder at one step, in one stride? No, unless we climb those 9 steps, we won't reach that 10th at all. But we neglect those first 9 and we want to reach the 10th direct. It's impossible. Right. So what matters, my final slide would be, what matters most is how you see yourself. If you underestimate yourself, if you underestimate your potential, potential is there with everyone. Everyone. Right? But how do we nurture that potential? How do we develop that abilities and skills? It's left to us. So never underestimate yourself. Okay, if at all there are some questions, I would like to answer them. I hope I have not taken.
Hello, sir. Dr. Nawale, sir.
Anita. There's one question to Sawant, sir, regarding MCQ.
Okay, sir.
Okay, it is okay.
Yes.
Ankita, ask your question. You wish to know
No, sir, I have done.
Yes.
MCQ, regarding MCQ, he will tell you regarding
Okay. Gaware, sir, please mute yourself. Gaware, sir, please.
How can he
Yeah.
mute
Yeah. I got her questions. She asked two questions. One
Yeah,
is
I replied to her question. She want to
yeah,
know
yes, sir.
the MCQ of your lecture.
Yes. So regarding the MCQ of this lecture, I will provide these MCQs right there on Telegram channel, Literature Simply. So all students need to join that channel so that they can get PDFs. I will post all the time PDFs over there on Telegram channel. This is regarding MCQ. You will get definitely all the MCQs on this topic, not only on this topic, but other topics too for your study. Second question she asked about what is scope in English, or what are the career opportunities in English. Actually, I made a video 2 years before on the same scope and career opportunities in English. I have covered there 26 areas, prominent areas where students of English or those students who have good communication skills in English will get job opportunities. If you allow me, I will show that video, just not complete video, but my channel, and how they will go to that channel in a quick. Here, just you see, uh, all students please pay attention. This is my channel, Literature Simply, and here if you go down here, you will find two videos. One is scope and career opportunities in English, where I try to cover 26 areas. You find there, this is in English, and the same video you will find in Hindi. If you have difficulty in understanding, you will get it in Hindi. There are some videos in Marathi too. You can go and watch those videos too, and still you find any problem or any kind of help, you can directly comment below that particular video, or you can direct email me, contact literature simply at gmail.com. I will provide probable answers, or whatever you need help from me. So this is all about. If again any student have query or question, he or she can ask. Yeah, Nawale sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Datta Sawant sir. And before we call it a day, let me request Dr. Nitin Doke sir to accept my sincere thanks for his practical, simple, and impressive talk on employability skills as a part of skill enhancement course of BA second year optional English students. Dear sir, as you started speaking, your words took me back nostalgically to 20 years when I was your student sitting in front of you. And you were very strict in those days regarding pronunciation and spellings and grammar, like the orthodox schoolmaster of Oliver Goldsmith, I remember. But now your students are fortunate enough, you have grown a liberal teacher regarding pronunciation and spellings. On behalf of Shivaji College Udgir and Maharashtra Udayagiri College, once again, I thank you for this impressive talk on employability skills. And to propose vote of thanks, may I request Dr. Smita Nagori Madam for this session. Dr. Smita Nagori Madam, please.
Unmute kara, ma'am. Unmute kara.
Good afternoon once again. I'm here to propose the vote of thanks, and I'm really happy today because all the three sessions that took place were wonderful. They were excellent, par excellence. The first session that was there was of Prashant Mannikar sir. He dealt with Arthur Miller's All My Sons, and his presentation was very well organized and excellent. It was a great presentation. Sir, thank you very much for sparing time with us and giving your presentation directly to the students, which will definitely they will derive benefit from that. The second presentation was par excellence. Dr. Samant, you are really wonderful. Your well-tailored presentation to the point, very neatly organized, was the real MCQ pattern that you have taught the students. This was what is expected. When it is MCQ, the students can see what are the words that are there, what are we speaking and what are we speaking about. So that is definitely going to help them directly. So sir, thank you very much for your wonderful presentation. The last presentation was of Dr. Nitin Doke. SEC, this is the area where we all need to improve, and he has given the reality of today's world, that is the today's students who are there, what problems they face, and they need to come out of their comfort zone. This is the only way that they have to start speaking in English right from simple words. And this was what your message was. Everything depends on us. The atmosphere that is to be created by us, the teachers and the students, and then only they can definitely come up with good communicative English. Sir, all of y'all, thank you very much. I also thank Professor Gawane for giving me an opportunity, and I also thank the host, that is Nawale sir, who is the key figure to all these things. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity, and thank you very much. For tomorrow's session, the tomorrow's sessions are devoted to first year optional students, and they will be again for both the papers. No SEC tomorrow because first year students do not have an SEC paper. So tomorrow's first year optional paper, I request all the optional students and the teachers, faculties to ask your students to join for tomorrow's sessions. And day after tomorrow will be for compulsory English for first year and second year of all the streams. And that will conclude by valedictory function. So this is the two-day, 2-day programs that we are going to come forth. And thank you once again. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, ma'am. Hello, sir.
Dr. Gawane sir was conducting 2 meetings while doing.
Yes.
he has conducted this session.
Yes.
You must have observed that the people were coming to him for the.
Yes.
When I was there,
Yes.
formal meeting, I went through the timetable of his schedule of the meetings with the faculties. That's why it is patient. Though he is busy in the NAC and MCQ activities,
Thank